How is everybody? Doing all right this morning? It's good to see you. I thought we would record the pre-show today because I think we might have a conversation that would be helpful to others. I talked to two different people yesterday. Both told me the market stinks. That kind of stuff it gets me excitable when people start talking about how the market stinks. I think the market is tough and the market stinks are two totally different things. The market stinks. It's kind of victimy. Woe is me. It's just not working out. The market is tough is I've got to do something different to get where I want. I posted on Facebook. Most of you are in alignment. Some of you, I just didn't articulate it well and maybe you don't understand. So I thought we should talk about it. I think the state of the market is irrelevant to your success. I don't think it has anything to do with any individual's opportunity. There will be, I don't know, 4.5 million units this year. That's 9 million sides. Your goal is what? 24, 3,602. We've said this so many times. There is enough for you. There isn't enough for everybody, but there's enough for you. The path to get there is definitely different. It's going to require more effort. It's tougher. There's no doubt. It's tougher than it was a couple of years ago. That's all. 2 years ago, you put a sign in the yard, you got paid 4 days later. 2 years ago, you went into the listing appointment, and when you started talking about price, the entire conversation was, sure. And now it's skill-based, it's high level of service, it's a ton of effort in lead gen, it's significant effort in overcoming objections. There are fewer motivated people, so therefore you have to talk to more people. I think sometimes we think, well, how can I motivate someone? We can't. We just have to find more of them. Well, how do I do that? I don't know. Figure it out. Do more events, make more calls, send more emails. So I want to talk about that, the difference between the market stinks, which to me is victim language. I heard it from two people yesterday. That's victim language versus the market is tough, which means I got to roll up my sleeves and do more work. What are your thoughts on it? I'm just curious. Somebody told me this is a really bad take. I don't think it's a bad take. So I'm curious about what your thoughts are. Joanna Brown?
Good morning. So my take is be the best agent you could possibly be skill-based. I've had two buyers come to me because their agent did not do their job. And then one of the agents went off on me saying I stole her client, which I did not. But anyway, you have to show up and you have to show up big.
How do you show up big, Joanna? I'm curious.
So you're easy to contact. You're searching, you're showing your clients that you are helping them find this home by not just doing a drip campaign, but by contacting them, by constantly reaching out to them, by taking them where they want to go, and really just giving high class service.
Yeah. Gary says in Shift, there's three types of people that show up when a market is like what it is right now. First is the overly negative person that thinks everything is horrible and they'll never sell a house again. They blame all sorts of things: government policy, economic conditions, interest rates, low inventory. They blame, blame, blame. It's a blame game. Then you have the overly optimistic person. That's the person who ignores reality and pretends that it's not any different than it's ever been. And I'm just going to keep doing what I do. Always have a high-pitched voice. Then there's the resourcefully realistic, which are the people in the middle that recognize they might fail and it requires more effort. And that's what Joanna's talking about. It just requires a little more effort than what it did before. Joanna, thank you. Julie, what are your thoughts?
So James, I posted, my first thought is what I posted yesterday on your post. It just, I think, gives people an excuse, validation for not doing the work to get the business. So I think it gives them, like exactly what you said, buying into the victim mentality. And my other thought is, I don't know if you remember before COVID, Gary was for years prepping us for a shift because we had been up, right? So he said, we need to prepare. You guys weren't preparing. And then COVID happened and we shifted completely different. But I think my feeling is we're just getting back to where we were. And if we go back and look at home sales from, what was it, 2008 to what, 2012? Even like, okay, 12 was 4.6. What did we do there that ultimately got us success? Now, granted, our techniques might be a little different for the age, but we made it through that. We made it through shifts before that. It's just about hunkering down and doing the work and not letting the market stinks or this or that be an excuse not to.
Yes. I love that, Julie. I think you're exactly right. We have been through all different markets, and we've got people on this call that have been in the business for decades. The challenge we have is that a majority of licensed people got their license 2011 or later, which meant they saw only appreciating and growing markets until 2 years ago. And now it literally has become a blame for some, not people on here. Hold on, I got to mute everybody again. I would like for us to shift into a stay on mute when we're not actually sharing. That'd be cool. But so we have people that have decades of experience. At Elevate, we're actually going to open. The open of Elevate is a panel that is, you're looking at 120 years worth of experience on the panel that we will go through and just learn how do we get through different markets, because people have done it before. We'll do it again. Thank you, Julie. Great perspective. Ira, what's on your mind being safe out there while you're driving? I always get text messages from people that I shouldn't call on people when they're driving, but I trust you, Ira. Go ahead. You're on mute, Ira. No, you're not on mute, but we cannot hear you. You're off mute, but something's up. I'll have to come back to you, friend. I don't want you fiddling with it while you're out in the car. I love you. Pull over. We'll get it figured out. Carol Castle, also in the car. Good morning.
But I'm a passenger, so I'm okay. So I have a story and a strategy. First of all, I think it was Brad that said, there's a pathway and a road. And a lot of times when we are agents, we're on the road. We want to get a client, get them on the road from start to finish. And this is a market where we need to be on a pathway. My dad, who was a salesman of life, used to say, you need to be a rabbit. You need to have bigger ears and a smaller mouth. So you need to pay attention, just like the agent said before, and a strategy. So I have a person, an agent, top agent came in. He's like, I can't find listings. I door knock. I said, well, what's your strategy? He's like, I don't know. I just knock on doors. So I showed him Remind. I said, who are you targeting? What's the story? And there's stories in data. So we looked, here's the top person. They've taken out 4 HELOCs on their house. This is the situation. Like, what do you think this is? If you door knock on this house and they are upside down in their house, but they could sell it. Like, what's the strategy if you knocked on the home? What would be the script? Be strategic when you knock on someone's door that you already know what you're going to say.
Well, are we just doing activity to do activity? Or are we doing activity with an end result in mind? Carol,
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Chris, good morning in Milwaukee.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I am one of those agents that's been in the business for decades. And I'm not foolish enough to think that I can keep doing the same thing I've been doing and expect the same results, because I've been through changing markets before. And so is it challenging? Yes. What do I need to do to rise to the challenge? I need to talk to more people. So I'm adding in hot buys and trying to add in more micro events so that I can have face-to-face conversations with people. I'm changing the conversations that I'm having, and I'm just doing.
Oh, Chris, we're losing you, but you're saying really good
business
stuff.
I did.
Oh, Chris,
Oh,
we
let me
lost
try.
you.
Can you hear me now?
Now that's better, but I think we get it, right? It's about are you bringing the activity level to match what's required in today's market? When we created the Pipeline Market Challenge as part of the Inspire Collective, one thing we included was your equity analysis piece, and we encourage people to do 2 a day, not to give you something to do, but to start to create opportunity. If you did 2 equity analyses, is that the plural for analysis? If you did 2 of those a day, that's 10 a week. You're doing 500 of those things a year. Are you going to get some listing opportunity and build the pipeline out of that? Of course you will. We have to raise the activity to match what's required in the market. Chris, thank you so much. Jean Marie, good morning to you.
Good morning, James, from Boston's North Shore. So this is really timely. Yes, raise the activity. And I was listening to the Jason Abrams interview on MREA podcast with the younger Robert Lucido, right? And it was a great episode. I would recommend everybody listen to it. One of the things that Jason highlighted is that now more than ever, because of all the news with the lawsuits, now our conversations, the buyers and the sellers have very open ears for talking with us. And then yesterday, I had 2 conversations. So I finished listening to the podcast yesterday morning. Yesterday, I had 2 conversations. One with a vendor, a seniors vendor, who said that she's been reaching out to the agents that she first met kind of at the beginning of COVID. Most of those agents have left the business. Okay, that's one little bit of anecdotal information that's powerful. The second conversation I had was with a senior, a solo ager. She said, well, what do you think about the market? And of course, I went into what we normally do. We gave our opinion, blah, blah, blah. Then I realized, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm supposed to ask her what she's heard. So she went into a very interesting conversation and then revealed her challenges with living in a home that has a lot of equity. What is she supposed to do with all that equity? And my aha was what Jason said. People are really interested in hearing from us right now, having these in-depth conversations that we wouldn't have had before. And we can uncover then, when we listen, we'll uncover the opportunities that are out there for us. So very fascinating day yesterday and good topic of conversation.
Yeah, it's the second best MREA podcast episode they've ever done, Jean Marie. Easily the second best. So go and listen to that. Thank you so much. Those of you joining us, we're talking about, I had 2 people yesterday tell me that the market sucks. Very victim-y. And so I posted on Facebook about it yesterday, and I want to be clear, the market is tough. It doesn't suck. The market's the market. You can't make it. You can't do anything about it. Your job is to figure out how you're going to work within it. And that's what we're talking about this morning. Ellie, good morning.
Good morning. You know, keep your blinkers on or your blinders on and just focus on what you're doing. When you brought out the pipeline challenge, everybody should be successful if they just follow that. You laid it out completely. I mean, a lot of our business is not now, but you brought that out. Was it January when you first started it?
Did the first round in January, another round in March. We'll probably do another one in May.
Yeah. So in January, we're in April now. If you did what you told people to do, sounds like John Maxwell, right? You got to do the do to get the did.
Yeah.
And if you have done that, and yet you can't complain. What are you complaining about? Because if you did exactly what you laid out for us to do, and you did it again in March, then this should not be a problem. Mark Benson said the other day on, I think it was Marilyn's call on a Saturday morning, about the fact that right now, this is the sweet spot. So if you don't have listings, and if you're not doing business, then maybe you should get out of the business. And that's the exciting part. Get out of the business, move away, move to the side so that the ones that are doing the work can continue to do the work and be successful.
Yeah.
That's my high D approach.
Well, I agree with you. I think some people got mad at me yesterday. I got a couple of texts that were like, dude, you need to be nicer. I don't need to be nice. If I just tell you it's going to be okay, that's a lie. And I cannot love you out. So if you aren't going to raise the level of effort required to succeed in this market, then yeah, you probably should quit. But I also think quitting doesn't make a lot of sense because you've worked hard to get to April 18th, 2024. So you can quit, or you quit the business, or you can quit doing what's not working. Quit one of those 2 things. If you're not happy with the result, quit the business or quit doing what's not working and start doing what is. I want to jump up real quick. Tanya, stand by. I want to jump up to Maria Sims because Ellie's talked about Pipeline Market Challenge. You sent me a text about it yesterday. Your team's number 7 in the region in GCI, and you're in Southeast region. This is an elite region. And you said Pipeline Market Challenge is a big reason why, Maria Sims.
Absolutely. And I sent that to you to just say thank you for creating it. And I think, what has stuck with me over the last couple weeks is reaping belongs to the planters, right? So it means you have to plant those opportunities and then you've got to look for them. And then this market, yeah, it is tough because every single situation or opportunity that we're given is special. They have circumstances that they need us to help them with. It's not it's not the fun moves right now, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
You've got to be scripted and and ready to go. And the pipeline challenge, the two pieces of it that truly changed my view in my life and my team's life was the equity analysis and the Facebook, right? Because I put a system in place for myself that's where I've created new opportunities for us, because you know what? I slowed down long enough to know that I was going to have to know the difference between busyness and business and get to work. That's all there is. There's no substitution for hard work right now.
Yeah, I like it. You're right. We do have to do hard work, and we got to plant the seeds to get the rewards. Maria, thank you. See you in a couple of days. Tanya Bird, good morning.
Good morning from PT Peachtree City, Georgia. In 2023 family reunion, Gary talked about the 6 Ds, and some of those Ds include death. So I jumped into Dan Ihar's group, the Real Estate Planner Group, and have started implementing a nice probate business. I'm sitting on 10 listings right now. Not all of them are on the market because I'm coaching people through the probate process, but those are the easiest wins as far as helping people coming from a different angle when it comes to value. Just like, I don't know, their loved one has already died, and then they have all the stuff to get rid of, and helping them through that. And they're so appreciative, making sure they're not losing their house to foreclosure, all those things. And for me, it's shift proof. And working with the seniors as well so that they can prevent probate and so their loved ones don't have to go through that heartache. So coming from all of that, I mean, even if this buyer thing comes crazy, I'm just going to be a listing agent and help people with
first of all, we should be a listing agent first and go help people. And second, I love your finding a niche. And here's what just happened. There's 800 people on here. About 200 of them went, oh my gosh, I need to join that. I need to do probate right now. That's gonna fix all of my things. How do I find it? What's the link? Can you send me the link? Is there a Zoom?
Well, I mean, there is always a free webinar that Dan
I
Ihart
get it,
does
Tanya,
once
but
a
here's
month,
my point.
right?
Here's my point. The reason it's working for you is because you've already mastered the basics and you're doing the fundamentals. I've known you a long time. You're doing the fundamentals, you're running the plays, and then you went, wait a minute, hold on, I need to elevate what I'm doing. And so since I've got my foundation solid, which you do, you have a good business. Now I'm going to go add this in. Folks, get the foundation solid before you start to add. It's models before you put creativity. That's my point, Tanya. It's working for you because you have a strong foundation. But those of you who don't have a strong foundation, you got to build the foundation before you go add. Tanya, thank you so much. Leah McCann, good morning.
So I love what you just said, James. I had the privilege of having a masterclass conversation with Tony DeCello yesterday. And if anybody knows him, he is one of the greatest coaches that has ever coached. And you remind me so much of him, James. He said, in this day and age, we have never had access to more information. We've never had more playbooks. We've never had more richness to go be successful. Unfortunately, we are all enamored with information and we're allergic to implementation.
Yes.
And he said, we just have to get out there. And like you said, choose one thing and just go do it and stop looking around and figuring out all these shiny objects. And then the other thing he said is we have to master the listing presentation. You can't just skate by. You can't just pretend that you have it. You can't just say, oh, well, that's a come list me, that's a friend, and skip steps, because skipping steps right now are leading to overpriced listings, which means they're expiring, which means you're expiring. So just super powerful. Just, we have all the information. Don't be enamored with it. Go implement.
That's really great. And I agree with Tony. And thank you for saying that I remind you of him. That's a massive compliment. What we do inside of Pivot and inside the Inspire Collective, our job is to be the buffet of information for you. And your job is to go grab the entree that you want and need and is most in alignment with what you're about. I have to give you everything and then you go pick. Just because I give you everything doesn't mean you have to implement everything. And certainly doesn't mean you have to get distracted and drop this to go do that. You get scoop and go, Lainey, scoop and go. Grab the stuff you want and then move forward. Figure out what's in alignment with your goals, what's in alignment with your behavior, what feels authentic for you, and go do those things. If you don't want to do videos, then don't do the YouTube strategy we taught last week. That's not for you. But if you're into social media and like videos and you're succeeding on Instagram, maybe you want to add YouTube to it. If you are in a new market and you don't know a lot of people and you need to grow your database, then maybe the series we did with Emily Peckham is for you. But if you got a strong foundation of a database and you have other ways that you're growing it through business to business and open house, then maybe you don't need to add that. But we have a lot of us that are into infotainment. We feel accomplished because we were on all the calls. But did you make any? You were on them all, but did you make any?
Oh,
That's where the opportunity comes from.
but I'm listening to it. It's
I'm listening to it too, and I'm muting you because I don't want to hear it. Jack Smith, good morning.
Morning,
Jack
James.
Smith, hello. There you go.
I'm here. Good morning, James. And thank you again for your topic. Let me just share a little thought. When I read that yesterday, I thought, where is this going to go? Where is this talk going to go? And of course, you said you got some pushback. But I think the bottom line for me is this. When I hear things like this, all I think of is gratitude. Because we have been with you for what, almost over 4 years, right? Now we're going into our 5th year. If people that are new to this call would just stick with this, forget the shiny objects, stick with this call in the morning, go to early birds, do your script practice. You have no choice but to succeed. I was in my ALC meeting on Monday, and I came out beyond unhappy. And that's the first time that's ever happened. But they sat in there and talked about commissions not servicing the customer, which is exactly what you've talked about with us for 4.5 years. I don't understand why people are talking about commissions if they just do the work that they're taught to do, stay on these calls, do the things they do. Surround yourself with not 5 good people, surround yourself with 10 good people and listen. Put the cotton, in AA, we say, take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth. Listen to what they have to say, do what they're supposed to do, what you're supposed to do, and stop making excuses. It's absurd.
Yeah. Well, we can make excuses as long as we don't make them for very long. It's okay. I don't blame anybody for getting upset with something. What I get frustrated by, Jack, is when they park there. Let's go do something about it. Now, I was reading an article about Caitlin Clark and her training process, and for the couple of you who don't know who she is, she was just the #1 draft pick in the WNBA. Fanatics sold out her jersey in an hour. That's the fastest any jersey has ever been sold on draft night. She sold more in an hour than any athlete in history. And I was reading about her practice and conditioning. I also watched an interview with her yesterday with Pat McAfee, and I found it really interesting. Part of her practice process is 100 shots a day, 100 three-pointers, 100 free throws, and 100 mid-range jumpers. And she said one thing that she does, and her aha was, if she's playing and the person guarding her is taller than she is, she says, I can always just back up. I can always just back up and shoot it from further away. And she said it with so much confidence, like it would be easier for her to back up and shoot it from farther away. And as I was reading this interview with her strength and conditioning coach, the strength and conditioning coach said, you must practice at the speed at which you play. Practice at the speed at which you play. Is that what you're doing? Are you practicing at the speed at which you play? That's the question. All right, we got time for one more. I'm going to go through. I see lots of regular hands, but I want to see, is there anyone we don't call on very often? And it's going to be Cheryl DeLuca. You get the last word.
Good morning, James. So I just wanted to let you know, so appreciative for this group and absolutely doing the right things every single day. I began the Pipeline Market Challenge in January, received a listing from that, applied some of the concepts differently with a seller I'm currently working with. And last week I gave my notice at my full-time job because I'm going to shift from dual career into this. I have so many people reaching out to me looking for information. So I don't know a market other than this one, but I am finding that if I do the things, that absolutely it is coming.
Cheryl, congratulations. But I thought the market stinks. How could anyone give up a guaranteed check for this market, Cheryl?
I can't wait. So excited.
What's your advice to someone that is launching, like you just launched, right? What would your advice be to them, to someone who's going, I need to build my pipeline, so I've got a steady stream? What would you tell them?
Actually, I would piggyback on what Leah said, which is pick one thing and work that one thing. I was guilty of being the person that was listening to all this different information and trying a little bit of one thing, trying a little bit of something else, and not really getting anywhere. And I then said, I'm going to pick one thing and I'm going to work on it. And it works.
Feel like we've heard that before. Cheryl, how has being a member of the Inspire Collective and doing the Pipeline Market Challenge while you've been dual career, how has that helped you?
So it has been amazing to know that when I do have the time, and my kids have a crazy soccer schedule as well, to be able to fit in what I need to do, that I know exactly what to do. It has allowed me to be extremely purposeful in making sure the time I have is spent doing things that are actually going to matter.
That's great. Thank you. Congratulations. And thank you to everyone for letting us have this conversation. The market doesn't stink. You might, but the market doesn't. You've got to just put in a little bit more effort. All right. Put in a little bit more effort, raise the activity. You got some good ideas in this call. I hope it helped. Thanks for listening.